Hello, virtuous thought leaders, scholars, and virtue change agents. My name is Dr. Lisa Marie Portugal, and I am the Leadership Architect. I'd like to welcome you today to another talk that I have prepared for you and in service to you and your goals. It comes out of one of my books called A Culture of Excellence, Virtuous Leadership Principles for Organizational Success, a Management System. And the cover slide there is the cover of the book, The Four Cardinal Virtues: Prudence, Justice, Fortitude, and Temperance. Okay, there is my leadership brand logo, and I'd like to invite you to think about what your leadership brand may be and your leadership style, and maybe even create a logo for yourself. And of course, I always want to invite you to live virtuously. All right, so let's get into it. Table of contents, my about page, enhancing organizational effectiveness with a futuristic mindset, leading in non-traditional global and virtual organizational structures, leadership model for effective teams, and then finally, conclusion. Here is my about page, and before we begin, I'd like to ask you an important question that you can reflect on today and throughout the week. What are your values? What's important to you? And what values do you want to convey in your own leadership brand and style? Enhancing organizational effectiveness with a futuristic mindset. Organizations are faced with escalating and continuous pressure to pursue more inconsistent and complex facets of performance. Thus, organizations need to be adaptable when utilizing various leadership frameworks, allowing room for control with flexibility and agility between external and internal orientation. Now, as I go through my talks, always notice and pick up on key words that I use, because you might want to use some of these words or build these skills when you're, before you interview. Are you flexible? Do you have agility? Are you somebody that can make changes and be adaptable to the changing environment that we all work in, right? So find ways to build those skills within yourself, and then to talk about those skills in your leadership style and brand. And when you're interviewing, understand what organizations are looking for in their leaders. So this discussion examines challenges and opportunities related to effectively leading in non-traditional global and virtual organizational structures. In addition, principle-centered leadership in a globalized marketplace is considered. Moreover, the notion of personality and leadership traits as organizational assets is assessed. So what are your personality and leadership traits? Finally, how principle-centered leadership and virtuous leadership practices may be applied to enhance organizational effectiveness for the 21st century and beyond is presented. So my next topic is leading in non-traditional global and virtual organizational structures. In a globalized economy with continuous technological challenges, organizations are faced with unforeseen challenges and opportunities while seeking to advance goals. These types of challenges lead organizations to rethink and restructure leadership practices and functions. Leaders are finding that changing organizational structures from traditional top-down hierarchical models to more flexible, agile, and creative settings require skills and practices that organize work in a new and innovative way. So think about how your skills might fit into an organization like this. Reaching organizational goals and organizing work involves teams, team collaboration, and team leadership models in the virtual management of global and non-traditional organizational structures. Moreover, a globalized economy has compelled leaders to seek new solutions meeting the needs of consumers. Based upon these consequences, leaders and organizations are seeking new ways to remain competitive through network-based and other collaborative alternatives that are commonly facilitated by virtual teams. In addition, other challenges involve forming strategic alliances, joint ventures, subcontracting, and downsizing to remain agile and competitive. Leadership model for effective teams. Virtual teams are organizationally and geographically dispersed groups working on projects or objectives while functioning over different time zones. I know I've worked in many organizations like that. Based upon these factors, virtual teams operate without physical contact in a lacking or reduced manner, requiring collaboration facilitated by information technology, of course known as IT, enabled solutions with computer-based applications. In fact, all of my working environments are virtual. So global e-leaders are confronted with challenges and opportunities related to electronic facilitated teamwork. Researchers suggest that organizational success significantly depends on the right type of leadership when virtual teams are involved. So think about how you might fit into this new framework, because all these corporations now, everyone's online, and what skills can you bring to the table and talk about with others to become that leader? All right, so here is a leadership model for effective teams. Yet many organizations are unclear regarding which leadership practices, behaviors, skills, and types of leaders contribute most effectively to virtual teams. To fill such research gap and add knowledge to the field, this discussion seeks to explore e-leadership and address these issues with a principle-centered leadership and virtuous leadership framework. This graphic represents a leadership model for building effective teams with trust, communication, training, and intervention components. So let's take a look at this model here, adapted from this citation you see here, Leading Virtual Teams. So in the center we have connect, integrate the culture, understand complexities and contexts, effective and consistent communication, and then managing conflict. So for all of those areas, you want to think about how you're going to bring your skills to the table when you're talking about what skills you have, what you can offer the organization that you want to work for, right? So think about that in terms of this model, and then put it in your own words and highlight yourself. So let's look at the top left, and then we'll go to the top right and then around. You want to empower your team. You want to leverage technology. So that's important. You want to be technically savvy. Utilize a timeline. Complete tasks. So you have to be able to meet those benchmarks and deliver, right? Employers always want to know that you can deliver. You want to empower your team. We already have that. That's the same. Okay, so let's get to the bottom. And actually, it's all the same. Sorry about that. I knew that, but I like to ramble on when I talk, don't I? Okay, so let's leave it at that, and let's move on. So think about how you're going to add to the culture where you want to work or where you are. How are you going to put your leadership brand in place, even though you're in someone else's culture? And how are you going to bring virtuousness to all of the people that you work with and work around? And principled, right? Principled-centered leadership. Okay, so here's the conclusion, and I have two important questions for you. What is your leadership style and brand, and how will you convey that to others? Very important, right? So as you can see, I convey my leadership style and brand to you in all of these talks that I produce for you, and a lot of the other things that I do as an educator, as a leader within the community, which you as well are and will continue to be. So think about those very important questions as you work in any environment. How are you going to bring virtue to the culture that you work in? All right, I want to thank you so much. I will see you on the other talks. It was my pleasure and honor to serve you today. God bless you.